Hello, in this video we're going to learn about VLANs. We are Cristina Zapata and Jonathan Arriaga. We will explain the definition, benefits and types of VLANs, VLAN trunk, dynamic trunking protocol, the trunking modes, and the attacks on VLANs.
Network performance is an important factor in the productivity of an organization. One of the technologies used to improve network performance is the separation of large broadcast domains into smaller ones. VLANs provides a way to group devices within a LAN. A group of devices on a VLAN communicates as if they were attached to the same wire. VLANs improve network performance by separating large broadcast domains into smaller ones. VLANs enable the implementation of access and security policies according to the specified grouping of the users. The primary benefits of a VLAN are the following. Security. Groups that have sensitive data are separated from the rest of the network, decreasing the chances of confidential information breaches. Cost reduction. Cost-saving results from reducing need for expensive networks upgrades and more efficient use of the existing bandwidth are obtained. Better performance. Dividing flat layer 2 network into multiple logical work groups, broadcast domains, reduces unnecessary traffic on the network and boosts the performance. Shrink broadcast domains. Dividing a network into VLANs reduces the numbers of devices in the broadcast domain. Improved IT staff efficiency. VLANs make it easier to manage the network because users with similar network requirements share the same VLAN. When a new switch is provisioned, all the policies and the procedures are already configured in the particular VLANs are implemented. When the ports are assigned, it's also easy for the IT staff to identify the functions and the VLANs by giving it an appropriate name. Simpler projects and applications management. VLANs aggregate user and network devices to support business or geographic requirements. Having separate functions makes managing a project or working with a specialized application easier. There are a number of distinct types of VLANs used in the modern network. Some VLANs types are defined by traffic class. Other types of VLANs are defined by the specific function that they serve. Data VLAN. A data VLAN is a VLAN that configured to carry user-generated traffic. A VLAN carrying voice or management traffic will not be part of a data VLAN. It's a common practice to separate voice and management traffic from the data traffic. A data VLAN is sometimes referred as a user VLAN. Data VLANs are used to separate networks into groups of users of device. Default VLAN. All switch ports become part of this default VLAN after the initial boot of a switch loading the default configuration. Switch ports that participate on the default VLAN are part of the same broadcast domain. This allows any devices connected to any switch port to communicate with other devices on the switch ports. The default VLAN for Cisco switches are VLAN 1. Native VLAN. A native VLAN is assigned to an 802.1q trunk port. Trunk ports are ports that are the links between switches that support the traffic associates with more than one VLAN. And 802.1q trunk supports traffic coming from many VLANs. as well as traffic that doesn't come from a VLAN. The 802.1q transport places contacted voice VLANs. A separate VLAN is needed to support voice over IP. And voice over IP VLAN requires assured bandwidth to ensure voice quality, transmission priority over the types of network traffic, ability to be routed around congested areas on the network, delays of less than 150 milliseconds across the network. VLAN trunk. A VLAN trunk is a point-to-point link between two network devices that carry more than one VLAN. A VLAN trunk extends across the entire network. Is a point-to-point link between two network devices that carry more than one VLAN. A VLAN trunk extends VLANs across an entire network. VLAN trunks allow all the VLAN traffic to propagate between switches, so that the devices which are in the same VLAN but connected to different switches can communicate without the intervention of a router. When the switch receives a frame on a port configured in access mode and assigned a VLAN, the switches insert a VLAN tag in the frame header, recalculate the FCS, and sends the target frame out of the trunk port. A VLAN tag field consists of a type field, a priority field, a canonical format identifier field, and VLAN ID field. Type: a 2-byte value called the tag protocol ID value. For Ethernet, it is set to hexadecimal 0x8100. User priority: a 2-byte value that supports level of service implementation. Canonical format identifier: a 1-bit identifier that enables token rings frames to be carried across Ethernet links. VLAN ID: a 12-bit VLAN identification number that supports up to 4096 VLAN IDs.
How to verify trunk configuration. A port on a switch is either an access port or a trunk port. Access port carries traffic from a specific VLAN assigned to the port. A trunk port is by default a member of all VLANs, therefore it carries traffic for all VLANs. When you type the command show interface ID switch port, you can display the configuration of the switch port. In this image, we can see that the administrative and operational mode is trunk, so the port is in trunking mode. The next highlighted area verifies that the native VLAN is VLAN 99. Further now, in the output, the bottom highlighted area shows that all VLANs are enabled on the trunk. Now we're going to learn about Dynamic Trunking Protocol, DTP. Ethernet trunk interfaces support different trunking modes. An interface can be sent to trunking or non-trunking, or to negotiate trunking with the neighbor interface. Trunk negotiation is managed by the Dynamic Trunking Protocol, DTP, which operates on a point-to-point basis only, between network devices. The trunking modes are the following. Switch port mode access. It puts the interface or access port into permanent non-trunking mode and negotiates to convert the link into a non-trunk link. Switch port mode dynamic auto makes the interface able to convert the link to a trunk link. Switch port mode dynamic desirable makes the interface actively attempt to convert the link to a trunk link. Switch port mode trunk puts the interface into permanent trunking mode and negotiates to convert the neighboring link into a trunk link. Switch port no negotiate prevents the interface from generating DTP frames. You can use this command only when the interface switch port mode is access or trunk. The attacks on VLANs. Switch spoofing attack. In a basic switch spoofing attack, The attacker takes advantage of the fact that the default configuration of the switch port is dynamic auto. The network attacker configures a system to spool itself as a switch. This spoofing requires that the network attacker be capable of emulating 802.1q and DTP message. By tricking a switch into thinking that another switch is attempting from a trunk, an attacker can gain access to all the VLANs allowed on the trunk port. The best way to prevent a basic switch spoofing attack is to turn off trunking on all ports, except the ones that specifically require trunking. On the required trunking ports, disable DTP and manually enable trunking. Another way to attack VLAN is double tagging attack. This type of attack takes advantage of the way that hardware works on most switches. Most switches perform only one level of 802.1q, the encapsulation, which allows an attacker to embed a hidden 802.1q tag inside the frame. An important characteristic of the double encapsulated VLAN hopping attack is that it works even if trunk ports are disabled, because a host typically sends a frame on a segment that is not trunk linked. The private LAN VLAN edge feature has the following characteristics. A protected port does not forward any traffic, unicast, multicast, or broadcast to any other port that is also a protected port, except for control traffic. Data traffic cannot be forwarded between protected ports at layer 2. Forwarding behavior between a protected port and a non-protected port proceeds as usual, and protected ports must be manually configured. How to configure the VLAN edge feature? Enter the switch port protected command in interface configuration mode. To disable protected port, use the no switch port protected interface configuration mode command. To verify the configuration of the VLAN edge feature, use showing interface ID. Thanks for watching. We hope you have enjoyed it.